They have that expression, don't meet your heroes.
Yeah.
Have you ever had... It doesn't always apply?
No.
You've never met somebody who totally turned out to be an asshole?
Yeah, that's happened. But I've also been the opposite where, see, I always tell the story now because Redman was my favorite rapper of all time. Mm-hmm. And then I got to be around Red through Socks. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't something I ever like, when it started going like, yo, let me be around. Yeah. It wasn't like that. It would just kind of happen. But I eventually was like around Red when Socks wasn't there. And then me and Red became good friends. Mm-hmm. And he's like my uncle. Yeah. We always say, we call each other uncle because you never disrespect your uncle. Mm-hmm. And that's a testament to the bond of like, you have brothers, but we're saying we're like family. That's my uncle. Yeah. Like, yo, uncle, you good? And he would call me nephew. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, that's some real... So like, I mean, for me, that was like, you know, I'm sure we had our ups and downs, who knows? But like, at the end of the day, when you go through stuff with somebody and they're your hero like that, I used to have moments to be like, damn, I'm in the studio with Redman. Yeah. Wow. In my head, I would never show that, right? Yeah. And then I think me and Red became solid so he could see what kind of person, it's more becomes, you know, what kind of person you are. Right. Because you want somebody around you could trust, right? Like, you want to know that I'm in the studio, I'm not leaking nothing. Mm-hmm. I'm not stealing nothing. I'm not telling, like, you got to trust people. Yeah. And I'm the same way. So, I mean, you know, you got to go through. So when you go through stuff with people, that's how you become close. Like, you know, even stuff like outside the studio. Because a lot of times you might have a relationship with an artist that's just in the studio. Right. You might not know the personal side of them, right? So, but yeah, I've seen it the other way. Nobody that I could think of off the top of my head that I'd be like, oh yes, I met so-and-so and they were a jerk. Yeah. But I know it's happened. And that's somewhat disappointing. Mm-hmm. And I try to be, you know, govern myself accordingly. Yeah. You know, like, you know, you're either a piece of shit or you're not. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
One question that we always ask to our guests, and you're a man who you've been around a lot of places. You've born and raised in Toronto. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you've seen the city evolve to where we are now. Right. And I asked all our guests this because we have a really serious gun problem that's going on in our city. Right. Yeah. So what I always want to figure out is what we can do to bring it down, because I know it's not something that we could like completely eradicate because people are always going to have some kind of issue. But what can we do to bring it down so the numbers aren't so high?
Well, there's a difference. Now, see, we've always had that problem, right? Yes. Now it's gotten worse, right? Now I come from an era where, like, you know, when I came up, like, they tried to shoot me at Kennedy Station. Wow. Somebody reported I had a gun. And back then, I was rocking a leather jacket. And the only thing I can think of is I had my clippers, because I used to cut at Fur Valley in Cataraqui. There was a barbershop. I used to cut hair like I was like the guy in the hood, my neighborhood that everybody went to for a haircut. Yeah. That was one of my hustles. And I was 15. I've been cutting hair since I was 13. Like, I even got a mark in art class because I used to do designs and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So like, nobody's cut my hair except maybe one or two people really close to me since I was 15. Right. Because I used to cut my own hair, fade, everything, full line. Mm-hmm. So they tried to shoot me because somebody reported I had a gun, but I had clippers on me. But this is after my boy was shot. Right. But back then it was more of a code, I guess. But to answer your question, there's two things going on. One is stupidity. Dudes is like pulling out over all kind of stuff. I had somebody challenge me on some bullshit the other day because I gave him the finger and acting like they ready to go to town. Like, how about you can, you know, because why do you think I'm giving you the finger? You're being stupid. Don't be stupid. I'm not going to kill you over it. Yeah. That's just absurd. Like, and especially over words, like that incident the other day I don't know what happened in the LCBO. They shoot each other over social. They're like, come on, guys. That's what's happening. It's like, you got to A1 value life, and people are, I don't know if it's social media or the generation. We, at least, like back in the day, we would, like, we would do stuff, but like if you're gonna kill somebody, you know that's a serious line to cross. If you're gonna pull out your hammer and start shooting, that's a serious line to cross. You got to be ready for it doesn't seem like people are thinking about that.
This is facts.
That's the first factor. So like I don't know if you've seen the one in the clip where the little kids running down the street here, Blue Jays Way, right? And like, come on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There used to be a code, right? You don't start shooting with like remember the one I wasn't even here. The Eaton Center shooting, when the guy started letting off in the food courts, like, bro, man, follow the guy outside then. Yeah. You're gonna shoot up a bunch of people who don't don't involve other people in your beef. We can't respect that.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not scared of jail. I'm not scared to die. So I'm saying that from a place like, because I have people test me all day. Every time, like even on the way here. Somebody got mad at me because I honked at them. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's like, so people need to get over that. But to go back to the original question, the problem is you got to ask yourself why. What's the fighting over? Okay, the turf wars are a result of what? Why are people having turf wars? Because of they're over the game, right? So the drug war, okay?
Right.
So all these things are a direct result of the economy, of there not being enough jobs. And maybe there are jobs, but you got to look at the money. It goes back to economics. It's hard to convince kids or anybody to go work. You got to level the playing field is what I'm saying.
There's a disproportionate
we got to
amount.
offer something like, maybe perhaps the weed legalization has changed that game. And maybe, because I've seen guys who used to sell weed working at weed stores now. So, I mean, maybe that's changed that a little. Like things like that. Like in one of the states, they decriminalized certain drugs, but like 2 grams of cocaine or this amount of grams of meth. So like if you were a user, you're not being locked up. And because when you get locked up, sometimes stuff happens in jail. Then you become part of the system and you're lost in the system. You never come out. Like all kind of stuff can happen. And then you're changed and all these things come into play, man. So, I mean, a lot of the people making the policies haven't lived these experiences and they're not thinking, I think, about some of the things that come into play.
Yeah.
Like why are people having such a disregard for life? You know what I'm saying? Or stuff like, you could have something happen to you, it's how you handle it, right? Because I've been in the same situation. My friend's been murdered. Do I go kill somebody else as a result?
Yeah.
To make myself feel better? Because that's really what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about me making myself feel, because I feel hurt that they killed my friend, and I want them to feel the same. Like, but is that going to solve anything? Yeah. Right? And that's now becomes a spiritual or religious or whatever, how you want to look at it, context within yourself. And like, like it's a morality issue. And like, so I mean, like, come on. At the same time, it's the youth that are crying in pain. And a lot of it sounds like I'm being, corny or whatever. But at the same time, it's people get into this life because there's nobody around them to help them. Nobody believes in them. Think of how many people gave up on their dreams. And it doesn't have to be a rapper. A man could be like, yo, I want to have a car detailing shop and could never get it. Nobody believed in me. And then, you know what, selling drugs is easier or this or that. Some people get caught in it and then they don't even get to have the life that you think that they're defending. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, what are you doing? That thing that happened the other day baffled my mind because I have experiences all the time when people test me, right? And it's how I react. Like a lot of times I choose to react with positivity, whereas I used to not be like that, right? Like I had a guy one time on the highway being reckless and stuff, and I'm like, yo, it's gonna end soon, and when we get off, I'll see you. And when we get off, I was upset, but I explained to the guy, I'm like, bro, I don't want to see you get hurt. Yeah. Because I do something, you don't know how I'm gonna react, and I don't know how you're gonna react. Yeah. And that could take have an effect on our lives, right? Yeah. And my main concern is safety. I want to make it home every day, right? Yeah. So I mean, we really kind of need to think about that and think about other people. And that's really what stops me a lot from doing, like I get up, I have a bad temper, but I have to keep myself in check because it was Bishop who told me. And I always shout out to Bishop because I got stuff to do tomorrow. He told me that, just tell yourself, remind yourself, no, I got stuff to do tomorrow. Because if this happens, I could be in jail or I could be dead. Then I can't do the stuff I got to do tomorrow. And when he told me that, I was like, you're right. You know what I'm saying? So always keep that in mind. The other thing that keeps me in check is, and I got to get on myself again, is going to the gym and being healthy. And I like to box. So boxing and being physical.
Getting the aggression out.
Yeah, and getting the aggression out and keeping your mind and your spirit and your physical being healthy, and, you know, and ceremony. And I know the pandemic's been tough because I haven't been able to do ceremony unless I go do it by myself, right? And it's not always easy if you're not a certain person, you don't know how to do certain things. Like I know how to build a lodge, I know how to conduct a ceremony, I know how to do it. I could go do it myself, but still a lot of work to do that on your own, right?
Sounds like
so
it.
all these things, but you got to motivate yourself, you know, like to go to the gym, to get on the boxing, you know, like now I'm like, oh, I got to buy weights for when the gym's closed.
Yeah.
You know, like little things like that, right? So, you know, these things go a long way, and maybe everybody doesn't have access to this. And it's not just the hip hop community, it's not just the Black community, it's not just the indigenous community, because it happens in all communities, whether it's Indian from India or Hindu or Sri Lankan or Ethiopian, Somali. There's all types of communities in Toronto that have similar situations, not always drugs, right, or turf, but there's all these things happening, and a lot of it is there's not as much outlet, right? And so the next question now becomes, how do you change that? And what do you do to give the kids more? And it goes into back into having access to stuff, like even things like the rinks, outdoor rinks. Maybe not everybody's into skating, but like you got to find out what people want, right? And you know, and no, I don't think anybody's doing that. We have leaders who are saying all this stuff, but you know, it's all bureaucracy. Everything's like slow. It takes time and years. Like look at the subways, right? Subways are a perfect example of what we're talking about. Oh, you want things to change? They built what? One subway in my whole life? What, the Shepherd line? They're talking about the Ontario line now. I'm like, what am I going to be, 70? Right? We need to speed things up, man. So what if it was your kids dying? Then you're all gung-ho? Yeah. Right? And I've seen it happen. I've had friends where I've had to, you know, I've seen my friends' families go through the trauma.
For sure.
I've been through it myself with people around me. So, I mean, when you experience that, it could change you in a lot of ways, right? So I don't know if I don't want people to have that experience to motivate them, but it's almost like people haven't had those things. Those types of things, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know what the answer necessarily is, but maybe, you know, we just need to do more, and sometimes it's just funding. And I'm pretty sure this government has enough money that they could do a lot of things, you know?
Well, I feel like we got a lot of jewels from even like what you've explained to us right now, right? Yeah. And like with everything that you have gone through with the game, everything that you've been doing over the last year, all right? What do you have that's coming up next?
Well, I have the remix EP is dropping on November 19th. Spirit of Hip Hop. I keep saying EP. They keep saying an album because it's 10 songs.
Well, 10 songs is technically kind of an album.
Yeah, but I was in my head, it was an EP, right? Yeah. Because I didn't know what number I was going to come out with. So now it's another album. The remixes. Spirit of Hip Hop, the remixes. So we got DJ Agile, Rockweiler, Hagler. Shout out to Hagler.
Shout out to Hagler.
I tried to get 40. He was busy.
Shout out 40 same way.
But yeah, who else is? Let's not talk about who's not there. Boogie the Beat. Shout out to Boogie the Beat, who redid the Winnipeg song because he's in Winnipeg. Sebastian Gaskin, who redid Res Life and killed it. I don't want to leave anybody out. Rockweiler, I said Rockweiler. Myself, and Classic Roots. I did a dance remix of Turtle Island. Nice. Which is fire. Because I don't always get to release songs like that. Yeah. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. Vanguards. DJ Chemo. Shout out to DJ Chemo.
Shout out Chemo.
Yeah, who remixed Feathers.
Fan City.
Yeah, Feathers. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. But I redid Rise or Fall. I remixed that. Nice. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. I got to get a list in front of me.
Well, for anybody who you might have forgotten now, yeah, so I suggest to the audience to go and check out your
the
stuff.
Remixes. Yeah, the remixes is it's a new approach because, you know, back in the day, the songs would have had remixes. You would have dropped the singles and there would have been remixes on them, right? And I didn't necessarily have the budget, or I wasn't even thinking about it. So when the pandemic hit, I was already working on some. But then they got the idea, you know, why don't you do more? And then I was like, all right, cool. And then, but then the gift and the curse comes back because here I am doing the same songs again, right? Yeah. Right? But that's okay. But so I got the remixes coming. And then I got this secret project I've been working on with Tretch, Outlaw by Nature. So look for that in the new year. Nice. That's going to be, I don't want to talk too much about it. That's going to be extremely special. It is something that was birthed from the pandemic. So shout out to Tretch, because it's really like, man, on another level. The way it happened is just magical. There's a lot of magic going on. So the remixes are coming, and then I kind of was like, I've been doing some production for other people. I got a song dropping with my boy Aspects called Do or Die that we just shot the video for. Okay. Where I'm featured on. Now everybody's going to try to get me to sing a hook when they hear this. But the song's really dope. I'm really proud of it. That's coming out next week. But I'm kind of was going to, you know, I was supposed to be in New York. We're doing a bunch of records with, what am I saying? A Keith Murray album, I'm almost finished. Hey. Shout out to Keith Murray. I've been working on a project with Eric Sermon, shout out to Death Squad, but I was supposed to be there working on that. So I don't, you know, I've been here because they got a bunch of stuff popping that I was supposed to be working on. So I'm kind of cheesed off that I've been here. Yeah. Right? So I'm dying to get back. I was trying to clean my plate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, and then I may or may not do a new album. I'm not sure. We're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens.
Well, Dave, I really appreciate you having this conversation with me. I feel like our audience has gotten to know a lot more than even like the information that's already out there, right? Because I know you have like content out there where people can find out like, you know, your history of where you grew up and all that type of stuff. Yeah. But, you know, I felt like we were able to pull out a few other pockets of information that maybe our audience or other people from who might have heard your other content haven't gotten to hear before.
Well, there's stuff like Apple has a playlist, Behind the Boards playlist for me that has songs that essentially it's supposed to be production, but I'm like, there's so many more that I engineered that I was like, let me pick my best songs, even if I didn't produce it. So they put a great playlist there together for me. Dope. And then they also just launched the Indigenous Sounds Room, which features my artwork, and on a playlist called Indigenous Now, which features my artwork, and which is a new playlist that's updated weekly that features current Indigenous music. Okay. Right, which is a game changer. So that room not only features my artwork, you know, is a great opportunity for Indigenous artists. So shout out to Apple for getting me involved and giving me a Behind the Boards. Because when I seen that, because I was up there with like Dre, RZA, like legends. And there's me, right? So I was like, wow. So that was very important. So if you want to check out more music I've worked on, that playlist is a great example because you could see not just the eras, but you know, you got Drake and you got Red and Meth and you got EPMD and you got Choclair and you got like me and Cardi did a song with Pete Rock one time. Like there's certain songs that you're like you can see Glenn Lewis or Sade or whatever's on the playlist. It gives you a it
gives you a hub.
Yeah, it gives you a nice variety of what I've been doing over the years because sometimes I forget and sometimes it takes other people to tell me. You know, like the other day I found my names on my high school Wikipedia. They got me as notable alumni. And I was like, damn. You know, so I mean, you know, it's really good to have those, you know, so shout out to Apple for giving that love to me to be able to have that. So if you want to go check it out. Also Spotify has a lot of good playlists. They helped me do one in the spring and summer. Okay. That was all Indigenous. So it's really good to see these platforms working with the artists like that. You know what I'm saying? Apple also gave me a great interview on my Apple. If you go to my Apple profile, they did an interview with me. Okay. With a great synopsis of my career and stuff. Like, these are things that, you know, I've been behind the scenes. So when I decided to come forward, I didn't know how it was going to, you know, come through. So it's great to see all the love and the supports. I really appreciate it. Even yourself letting me come on, you know, doing the show.
Well, we appreciate you. And, you know, for our viewing audience, you know, I'm going to do the regular, you know, like and subscribe and all that, you know, another 6 Views interview in the vault, right? But through this conversation that we just had here, I feel like I'm also going to make this a We Love Hip Hop audio for the We Love Hip Hop podcast so that our listening audience can get some of these jewels. So thank you again very much. And if you don't mind, I'm going to call you Gordo.
That's we were like family, bro. We like family. We all got, you know, sometimes family, extended family, you become family. So that's how I looked at it. When I seen it was you, I was like, oh, snap, you know, it'll be a good day. Dope. That's what's up.
Thank you so much.
You done know. Thank you, brother.
Another one in the vault, 6 Views uncut or 6 Views interviews. We Love Hip Hop. That's what it is. Cheer.